All right, let's start and see if not Tetris gets me in the right headspace to do all this, to do what I need to do today. Let me drop the link and announcements where it belongs. Blah blah blah. Tab back over here, and get down to business to defeat the Tetrominoes. There we go. All right. Hello, comrades, and welcome to another episode of Under Construction. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. That was a really bad placement of that block right there. Oh well, nobody's perfect. This definitely won't help me, so I should put it over here. This is what I've been waiting for. Okay. Perfect. Okay. We're going to pretend like that was the plan the whole time. It wasn't. But we can pretend. Let's put that there. This here. Those that are new may be asking what on earth we're doing. This is a Trainz route building stream, as you might imagine. But this is the part of the stream where it says, the stream will start soon. So the stream will start soon. If you want to just skip right ahead to where I'm actually working on the route, you're welcome to do it. Hello, De Kaiser. Oops. Alright, well, whatever. I touched the side of it, just barely. We're also babysitting a very small... we're babysitting a soot sprite, basically. A very small black pupper who is behind me to my left. Over there. I'm not sure if that's the left on the screen or not. I can't see myself. But he's getting antsy because Gloria left the room. And he's trapped up there. He wants to be held all the time. That's all he wants, is to be held at all times. And we can't do that, obviously, because we've got stuff to do. I had to work this morning, and so what I did was I put him on a little side table, sort of like he is now, and I put that side table next to my work computer. And that worked. He was content being up there. And he was content being up there when Gloria was sitting at their computer behind me. Good evening, Orion. But this time, or by now, he seems to be getting a little bit disgruntled because he's been left. He's been left up there. Although, if he were able to get down, which he doesn't, I mean, I feel like he could, but he doesn't know that he can. He's getting up there in the years. He can't really jump like he used to, up and down and all that, and he's probably a little apprehensive. Oh, I could have turned that 90 degrees and dropped that down in there. Oh no, that's not good. He also probably hears me talking. It's been very quiet to this point around the house. When I was working, when I was sort of just taking care of things in between then and now, it was very quiet, and now I'm going to be talking to myself for 3 hours. So, he's got that to think about. Oh, he looks so sad. I feel bad. Hopefully Gloria will come back in here and scoop him up and carry him away. But we seem to be starting off alright, even though the very beginning was a little bit of a disaster. Not Tetris is always great until you make that first misplacement, and then it's all downhill from here. Last episode, we did a little bit more of the spreadsheet stuff towards the very end, and we did fencing around a neighborhood. That was sort of the big thing to get that done. I think I was off on some tangents, and we didn't get as much done as we could have. But, that's the story of every episode anyway, so nobody should be surprised by that. In seriousness, hey Mason. Oh, that's not great. What about this? Okay. Okay. This is going about as well as it could go without anything getting removed. Okay, there we go. No, that's going to stop the the angular momentum of the piece. I remember doing calcs with angular momentum. I remember doing dynamics in school and not knowing what the hell I was looking at. Um, and thank goodness I am not a mechanical engineer because I barely made it through that class. Uh-oh. 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 All right, we're gonna be onto the route building very soon. Okay, there we go. I got the NYC 460s. For some reason, one of the dependencies won't work. Got anywhere I can find it. It's QID 96914. Let me see. Let me check on that. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I have that QID. Just just because. Um, I don't know which. Hold on. Filter asset QID. There. I don't think that's going to show up. The website for finding QIDs is like you got to pay for it now. I don't have that QID. I don't know which 460s you mean. It might be the engine spec. If there is not an engine spec in your list of stuff, then it could be the engine spec. I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna drop this in the Discord and see if anybody has this. If anyone can identify it. Oh, excuse me. Anyone have? I don't actually know if I just put it into the right format or not. Oh, it's QID colon, not space. What does the K stand for? Should make Kevon get a subscription. I think Dean had a subscription for a while, if I remember right. But I don't think Kevon needs a subscription because I'm pretty sure he just has every asset. Like every single one. So, you know, it's probably no sweat off his back to find something. Alright, so I need to figure out what I'm doing in this little corner. And at that point we have this sort of green belt made up from here all the way through to here. Right now the only gap is this. And then I'd like to fill in this area. I'm not sure what width, but we just need to sort of, you know, bottom up and middle out this area. I mean, the bottom, if we want to follow that analogy, this is the bottom, we're doing bottom up, and this is the middle, and we're going to do middle out. But the point is, I don't want to stretch this out any further. I don't want to be doing stuff down there. That was the gist of what I was trying to say. And I don't know if I want to touch this yet, because that's going to be, should definitely not park an old truck in that grassy corner. Well, I could throw plenty of old trucks and it still wouldn't fill it up. That's the problem. Let's see. I mean, I would like to. I could probably fit in a couple of houses over here, with their backs to the water or to the stream here. I don't know what exactly, but something. This is a nice house to put on the corner. Maybe a little bit too modern, with the garage there and everything. And it's even got like a modern, like HVAC unit. Okay, this probably isn't it then. The houses in this neighborhood would probably, most of them would be relatively old. Second South Dakota class battleship that has a memorial with a few parts. Which one might that be? Okay, there we go. Is this The Sims? I mean, it's only slightly less interactive than The Sims. Oh, this is a nice house. Imagine if it was this easy to drop down a house in The Sims. Oh my god. But no, you got to spend 6 hours. Alabama has her screws. That's a surviving battleship bits. There's probably a registry of these somewhere. of just, what survives off of what. Okay. Let's move this guy over to here. I think I want to slide one more thing in. Also, hi, Kat and TJ. Um, LST tracks. How charming to see you building. Hello, Ryan. Uh, I try to be here at the same time every week, but it doesn't always work out like that. Let's look at the tomb house here. Indiana. Prow mast and a couple of guns are in front of the University of Indiana Stadium. That's pretty cool. That must be neat to somebody These houses don't have doors on them. They still don't have doors. And I don't understand. They don't have doors. Why not just add a door texture somewhere? Why is there no front of the building? Because they're all low poly is what they are. They're deliberately super low poly and low impact, so they have the same texture wrapped around every side. Does this one have a door? This one has a door. Okay, you got that one going to him. TJ, you need to show her the actual Sims. Actually, no, she'll want all 200 DLCs. I would imagine if Kat's asking if this is the Sims, Kat... Well, no, actually, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I mean... she's a Zelda head. Oh, cool. Okay, let's get an asphalt driveway here. And Zelda's fun. I say it's fun. It's cool. Like, I like the lore and everything, and the gameplay looks neat. I've never played a Legend of Zelda title. And it's not because I'm avoiding them. She has seen Gloria play The Sims. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, she's got to get over here and see Gloria. Even I've played The Sims a little bit. I mean, I played The Sims on the community channel, or this channel. I've played it with Gloria on YouTube at one point for the Game Exchange. And beyond that, I have spent some time, like, house building, specifically in The Sims. Not actually playing the game, because the house building is the fun part. But please put the Modulus City solar system somewhere. Maybe somewhere, maybe in Gilson City somewhere I can put that. There have been a few memes that have come across my radar, my thought process for what I can sneak onto this map in recent days. I mean, most of them were, if you were here last time or the time before that, maybe it was the time before that, or maybe it was the time before that. I added a bunch of stuff to the list of commodities in the list of rail cars and stuff, and that gave me a lot of really fun ideas for industries. Because it's like, oh, I didn't realize I had this commodity, I didn't realize I had this commodity. Like, there is a cement commodity, so I could use the cement plant and actually take cement out of it. But then I got to all, like, the liquid commodities, and that was really fun. You could sneak in the Great Eastern. I have a Great Eastern asset saved on my computer. Everything on this route has to be from the DLS, but if it is on the DLS, then I can absolutely slip it, and that'd be fun. The DLS or packaged N3V, blah, 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 blah. Don't need to split hairs there. So I can't just take the stuff. I can't dig into Kavan's CDP archive and browse through every CDP imaginable. My life would actually be substantially easier if that were the case, because when we moved from Tane to 2019 to 2022, I spent a lot of time sifting through stuff. Well, maybe remind me later. I'll jump on the DLS and I'll see if it's there. Or remind me many years from now when I'm working on Gilson City, and it would probably belong there in like a museum or something. But or maybe I have it. You never know. Great. No. Best I've got is Chicago Great Western. Marooned in a creek. No, I gotta put the what was the ship that just got the "well, there's your problem" done on it? The one that exploded. That was like under a dude's farm, miles from where the Mississippi is now. That's what I need to put. I need to just put a boat in the middle of a field. Sultana, yeah, that one. I remember seeing like a History Channel documentary when they found that, or of them finding that or something. I don't know when they found it. Um, if it was relatively recent, then it probably was a documentary of them finding it. But it's like, wow, look at this boat. It's so far from the water. And that's the only thing I remember about it. The only thing. Um, anyway. There is a boat that needs some TLC along one of the Ohio River tributaries. I bet there are several. To which are you referring? Alright, I'm gonna put this fence here. We get the fancy fence going on. Pretty sure that's what I feed my cat. Let's bring that parallel to this. Just to come back to it, it'd be kind of funny if I was playing The Sims. It would be amusing enough anyway. I mean, again, I've done that before. Just to bamboozle everyone. I realize that yeah, we can have a chiller industry. It'd be I don't know what you'd do with it. We're gonna name the yacht of a railroad tycoon. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna grab a hedge for here between these two, and like I mentioned last episode, we will do trees later, and trees really make a place like this come alive in a way that you'd be surprised how different it is. You know, if you look at excuse me, if you look at these blocks here, and then you look at Olive, for example, it is like night and day in terms of the detail and everything. In terms of the way that it feels, and there really isn't much difference between that and this. The Great Suburban Showdown, yeah. Suburb versus. Let's just do this to here. I could probably put in a garage here, actually. This could be like the one house in the neighborhood with a garage. No, that drops off pretty fast. It'd be tough to put a garage there. There we go. And then this house doesn't need that. Doesn't need any of that. But yeah, it makes a world of difference. It provides a feeling that you don't get otherwise, a feeling of completeness. Because most residential areas, even in locales that don't have a lot of trees, a lot of residential areas will have trees because they'll be deliberately planted there for the sake of shade and everything. And people like having trees in their yard. Maybe the exceptions would be desert climates where trees really don't grow too well. I wanted a gravel here, but I can do the dirt and leaves instead. It's almost gravel. I wonder if Gloria forgot that Benny's on the thing behind me. Benny. Hi, Benny. And the moment I call Benny, Lafayette comes running in because he can't believe that I would be paying attention to somebody else. Come here. He doesn't want to come here because he doesn't want me to pick him up or anything, but he needs to make clear that that I am not to pay attention to anybody but him. He's a big jealous pupper. Excuse me. There's a beer warehouse. This actually is a nice looking warehouse. I should probably find a way to fit this into this area. It is a pretty understated low poly building, but this building here was sort of an experiment with me trying out this, the modern look of an industrial park. And of course, not everything is paved because it's still the 50s, and you have a lot of gravel lots going around and everything like that. But this is a good candidate for that sort of thing, and I think it'll just sit there. Uh-oh, you are bowing to die. Also, we have this, which... Okay, can't help but notice the track is down there. That's not right. I do like that bridge, though. This is cool. This is a cool bridge as well. That would be an old bridge. Also, can't help but notice the track is down there. I'm realizing what's going on all of a sudden. The track spline is just something that appears, and no, I can't do that. So I'm probably better off just doing this. No, no, I can't make it. All right, so I'd have to delete the spline in Surveyor 2 then. Which that's interesting. And there's a bunch of different versions of this. This one has a taller center pillar. That's really interesting. I have 5 versions of this. Bonded warehouse. This is a really cool building for multiple reasons. One, because it makes me think of... One, because it looks nice. And 2, because it makes me think of the bonded vault that got robbed here in Providence. There's a movie called Vault about it, which was people stealing from the mob, which ended about as well as you'd imagine. But, oh, you found the dep. What is it? And where is it? It's for Orion. Orion needs the dependency, but he's not in the Discord, so I don't know how to get it to him. But if you can describe to him how to get it, or where it might have come from, it might be useful. Bonded warehouse discussion from Willow is your problem. Yeah. That also made me think of that. Oh, it's from sub. Oh, okay, all right. So this, yeah, it's probably the engine spec then. So you might have hit the nail on the head there, Kaiserin. And yeah, no, he said he got the 460s, but he was missing that dependency in particular. All right, let's put this over here. This could be one of those, like, you ever been down an otherwise normal looking street in a city, and then it's like, no, this is a private road, you can't go down here. Okay. If we have an ice commodity, we could have a Chiller Industries that produces ice. That would be something to do with it. And I think I'm actually going to move this church over to here, so I think it'll look better on the in the tighter corner, the more acute angle here. Brewery store, yep. Engine house, bricks big, selling big bricks. I would like to put in a relatively nice looking set of houses along this. Diesel fueling hut. But at current, I'm just scrolling through the houses. This is kind of cool, though. This is a nice looking industrial building. Maybe not for what we're doing, but, you know. One of the things... I went down a road once where a concrete plant bought all the land, so it was a completely normal road at some point until they just took it over. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let me pull up the search filter and say mansion. How many things called mansion do we have? Not a lot that aren't McMansion, which is a bummer. It seems like they're just about all McMansions except for SAP_haunted_house, which is perfect to go next to, like, this is a house that they say it's haunted. This is a house that's actually haunted. Or maybe the other way around. Yeah, the kids are definitely scared of this one, but this one you go in and the ghosts kill you. So, and I will say again, I ain't afraid no ghost. No one has ever had ghost listed on their death certificate. Until someone dies from ghost, I ain't afraid no ghost. Anyway. Like, I don't want to... I'm not avoiding doing the walk of the Hoosick Tunnel because of the 200 people who died there. I'm avoiding doing it because it's a terrible decision. It's a terrible idea. There is the Ghostbusters car in the DLS. I think I might have it. Hold on. Let me see real quick. I don't have it. I'm gonna have to go get that. I'm gonna have to go get that. Absolutely. I need to go get Ecto 1. Or maybe it's just... No, it is just listed under Ghostbusters car. I do have it. I think I'll just park this guy out front of this house. If a ghost kills you, do you become a ghost and have to vibe with the ghost that killed you for all eternity? That implies that you're stuck in the same place that you were murdered in. Which, I wonder if all ghosts are stuck where they died in a hypothetical universe where ghosts exist. I wonder if all ghosts are stuck exactly where they died, or like, you know, it seems silly to me that the spirits can't wander, you know? Also, what if you're tied to a house and then the house gets demolished? You know? I thought that's how ghosts work. I don't know. Ghosts don't, like... That's how they allegedly work. I mean, you're probably right, Mason. I'm not a ghost expert. Elvis's ghost is haunting that bathroom for eternity. Now I know. Now I know what it means when someone says they're fighting demons. How come these are all Shaquad? I guess I never finished making this intersection properly. The 1846 ghost in the case of Starbucks that moves in. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, imagine you're a ghost and you're haunting, you know, like let's do Longleaf for a second. Like you're haunting this this lumber mill, right? And the lumber mill gets demolished and they build like an effing you know, a suburban development over the top of it. And it's like, all right, well now the ghost is in a like a living room. Do you think the ghost would be confused by this? Do you think it would understand? I mean, how cognizant are ghosts really? I don't think anyone has tried to administer an IQ test to a ghost, which is something I would be curious to see. Or even like a, you know, like a basic cognitions test. See if you can get a ghost to do like the test they do, the field sobriety test. Can we get a field sobriety test on a ghost? Ghost therapy. Honestly, what if you don't actually need to like do the thing to pass on? You just need to sort of get over it. I mean, has anyone done a ghost thing where the like problem, the ghost couldn't pass on because they just hadn't come to grips with the fact that they were dead, or they died horrifically? That's got to be a thing that people have done, though. Pacer test a ghost. A ghost shouldn't get tired, right? It wouldn't make sense if a ghost got tired, so they should be able to do the pacer test forever. Which honestly sounds like hell. I would probably rather be dead. There we go. I want this guy to still be sort of cockeyed so that the walkway going out that way isn't, you know, pointed off into space. Also, can't help but notice this guy's floating. We should fix that. Okay. No bad mind. I can't stop thinking about the robot chicken skit of the R ghost. It shouldn't be funny, but it is. A ghost story, but in order to move on, the ghost has to integrate with modern society. It's like a ghost from, you know, 1855, and they're super racist, and they have to get over that, and then they can move on because like heaven is integrated. You have the ghost of Eisenhower sending in the Ghost National Guard. Or was it Eisenhower? I'm 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 failing on my history. What was that? I just saw a giant bridge. Oh, it's the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Is it one big piece? No, it's just the main piece. Oh my god. Oh my god. We gotta use this somewhere. We gotta use this somewhere. This is awesome. Um, that's maybe the largest single asset I've ever seen. That's enormous. Um, are you gonna add any of those old abandoned wrecks like what's out west with the abandoned Milwaukee Road boxcar and course trailer? Oh, I got one. I got some actually. Hold on, let me show you one. Where did I put it? I think I put it over here on the in the Road River. I think there's some boxcars off the edge. Yeah, yeah, there you go. So there's some hoppers here. There's boxcars elsewhere. Um, but yeah, no, I love doing this. I love the little, environmental storytelling beats. Because that's really all you can do. You're not going to put signs on everything. So, ooh, excuse me. Okay. Back to looking for a nice. We need like one more nice house, maybe, because this side these guys have got bigger lawns, and then this side these guys are kind of crammed together. So we need maybe one more house. Um, can tell a story without having a history. Um, House. We need another like good looking house. Um, and not like an apartment building. That would be unhelpful. A packing house. So yeah, this is something we're missing, right? And I just want to take a look at this for a second because we have a whole bunch of industries over here that are most of the time they have multiple inputs, right? Like you've got two tracks here and a middle for storage. You've got two tracks here, considering those are the same industry. You've got one here, which is actually kind of a change, right? That's not the norm. This has one, but it would have had two, may have had two at some point. This has two. This has two or three if you include this as the same thing. This has three. We're missing these industries that have only one, and this one has two. Um, this one has one. These smaller like downtown industries, or like this one as well. This one sticks out to me as this one has one. Um, we need more that just have one. This one has just one, but that's a fairly large building. I have been consistently surprised by basically how small an industry can be. Like you can have an industry that works out of a building like this that just like makes one really specific thing, like makes a certain kind of hinge or something, um, right? And that's not like, oh, the SAP factories look nice as well. That's not a bad thing. It's something that we haven't really represented much, and that I need to get around to representing, because it's not right. There's lots of these. Um, okay, why would you need this many? Hold on. A man had a sale on staircases. Yeah, look at that. Look at this. Look at this absurdity. It actually looked weirder in this because I saw the front or the back, I guess. Wait. Oh, because the staircases are all very tall. Okay, I get it now. Still a weird building. There's a couple of Victorian houses. Those aren't really the kind of house I'm looking for. Although this wouldn't really be out of place up here. Like if I put it at the end of this street, for example, or maybe this could be like part of the same estate here, if we want to figure out how to fit that in. Um, Warehouse open type. Oh, well, that's really cool, actually. That is actually pretty cool. And I could put some crates in there and stuff. Um, Victorian houses absolutely make good fancy houses because it was fancy, you know? The ones that survived are generally pretty fancy. Uh, Good evening, Comrade Mopac. How was your drive to do a thing and then drive back? When you laid out what you had to do this evening, I mean, I felt bad for you because you were gonna be like kept on overtime, which I hope they paid you overtime for that. I hope you get paid for your drive time. If not, you at least get your mileage, which I haven't filled out my mileage in a while. Should probably do that. Let's put that over there. That looks nice. But yeah, having to go out and then do the thing and come back, and then my first thought was, damn, that sucks. My second thought was, at least you're gonna make it to under construction. Uh, so you know, let's see. Can I get something good here? We have these houses. These houses are pretty nice. The classic revival houses. This guy is a little big to fill up this spot here. And in fact, I think I'm going to, if this takes any longer, I'm just going to give up. And I'm going to say that, yeah, okay, this can go over here, like on this road, right? This can go over here. And I'm actually going to scoot it way back because I want these people to have nice big yards. Yeah, every farmhouse in Michigan ever. Now, I feel like I've seen those over here, too. It's an extremely normal looking house, right? You have this house, which is pretty nice. And this is what we're missing in a lot of the rest of the town, or what would be missing in a lot of the rest of the town, because there's not like a wealthy district that I have figured out. This area is almost all row houses and really tight suburbia and duplexes and stuff like that. Not the good kind of duplexes. Well, these are not bad kind of duplexes. Not the speed record kind of duplexes. The housing kind, of course. But we've got, that's going to be most of what is this, South Bellington? Yeah, most of South Bellington. I have to look at the compass every single time I do this. And then North Bellington is going to be a little bit more affluent, but I would imagine it looks much closer to this than this, right? And so it makes sense that that Dairy here, or not Dairy, what is this place called? Dell's Lemonade. It would make sense that Dell's here has sort of that going on. There's a locomotive on a pedestal in Ohio. Only in Ohio. I have been trying to avoid equipment on display. Mostly because it strikes me like I don't like having... Oh, 39 hours and 46 minutes. That's almost a full week. Wait, I assume you don't get like paid lunches and you get to take lunches off and everything like that. $20 tip is nice. Sorry. The hell was I saying? Okay, we've got a house spline. I didn't realize we had a house spline. Yeah, this area is going to be... Oh yeah, no. I don't like having stuff on display because it's going to show up as a consist and might have an AI attached to it even, in the worst case. Don't really want to deal with that. Don't really want that. And I could go through and put like a locomotive down or whatever. But even still, most of the time, an asset will not be adjusted to be a display piece. And so you're going to have sounds and smoke, and I don't want to deal with any of that. And there are probably a couple of display locomotives that have that stuff disabled on the DLS, and that would be useful. But it just doesn't strike me as worth it. It's the 1950s. You maybe have a couple of things on display. I know, like, and this is mentioned in the trading card for it, by trading cards, theironhorseman.com, links in the description. But Weyerhaeuser 201, the 2882, the Chesapeake type, that they had, was on display shortly after its retirement from revenue service, but that doesn't necessarily, it's kind of a special case, right? When they say it was on display, what I assume they mean is it was parked outside the office, which pretty much, based on what I've read, is pretty much exactly what it was. Um, it wasn't like taken to a museum or anything like that. It vibed outside the office. Um, insert spline point here. I want to grab this, and then I want to put in one with the one sidewalk. I want to replace this with that. 50-50 chance. Replace with selected asset. No! We never get it. Okay. And I never do it the right way around first either. Alright, there we go. And then you... We can try this one then. Let's see if this one does anything. Replace spline with selected asset. Hey, okay. Alright, we're 1 for 2, which is exactly 50%. We can keep track of this today if we want. I don't know how many times we're going to do this, but we can keep track of it. Okay. I want to add another spline point here. So insert spline point. I want to grab this one way, and I have to go this way with it. Yay! Okay. That one was an informed decision. I'm not counting that in the count. I wish adding drivers was an option like in Railworks. It is an option. You can just delete them, and you can set in the settings to not re-add new ones. Insert spline point here. It's just an extra piece of work that I don't feel like doing. And sometimes I go through and I'll refresh the count of drivers, and I will have to do that later on. So, you know, that's it's something to keep in mind for future. Big Boy's overhyped. ATSF had it in terms of most powerful locomotives. Depends on how you're measuring power. The Big Boy is kind of the king of second place. The Big Boy it's very close to the longest, very close to the most powerful, very close to the, most powerful is ambiguous. Very close to the like most tractive effort, very close to the heaviest. It is none of those things. But it does take podium in a lot of categories, you might say. So maybe on balance, it deserves, it definitely deserves some respect. I don't disagree that it's a little over-foamed. And I think it's important to sort of call out in those fields, right? Like, I think the Allegheny was the heaviest. The S1, the PR S1 was the longest. The Q2 was the most powerful in terms of horsepower, which is not a great measure for steam engines. Santa Fe had an engine that had over 200,000. Yeah. And those things are... you can beat out the Big Boy, right? And I think the Big Boy would probably lose in a like a stand-up... what is it? A drag out, whatever the hell. Fight with like a AC9. I mean, a Southern Pacific AC9 is a very good locomotive. Smooth ground order selected. And it famously won the Royale of Royales of Royales. That thing deserves all the respect it gets. And I have a hunch that if you put it 1-to-1 up against the Big Boy, it would probably win. Mostly because it's a very good locomotive. But that being said, the Big Boy isn't... I agree that it's over-foamed. I agree that it's overhyped. That said, that doesn't make it not the Big Boy. Like no one's enlightened for not liking the Big Boy, right? I feel like, and we've talked about this many a time before, a lot of people go through the Union Pacific, we're all UP foamers phase, and I probably did as well. I might not be able to remember it, but I am not full of myself enough to imagine that I did not have a point where I thought the big boy was super dope. Um, as a child, as in whatever my child wording would have been for that. Um, because I mean, let's face it, it's the big boy. It's you know, it is what it is, and I can't deny that. And I don't think anyone really can. It's the largest operating steam locomotive right now, and yeah, that doesn't mean it's the greatest ever, but that does mean that seeing it is awesome. Uh, it's huge, and the babes go wild. Uh, lasted you a week. The plain yellow livery looked disgusting. Yeah, no, I think it was. It's the UP has never been fair with their livery, right? The UP always made everyone conform to them. Like they're the dream crushers, right? Um, that's what we always called them. Uh, the Union Pacific was where like tyrants, and I've said that if railroading has ever had an evil empire, right? The closest thing to an evil empire when we were doing the alignment chart of signal types. Originally, I had the PRR position lights in a certain position, and I was encouraged. I was talked into dropping them to chaotic evil, or not chaotic evil. Chaotic evil is train orders. Um, dropping them to lawful evil, and it's just the PRR is the evil empire of Class 1 railroading, of its era. Like, there's no two ways about that. But I'll be damned if Union Pacific is not a close second. I will be damned. Um, and even they did some things that the PRR would not do. They didn't force other. As far as I know, I've never seen another railroad paint their stuff in PRR. Schemes anyway, not lettering, of course, in order to have like cars that run through cars. Um, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I can't confirm. I can neither confirm nor deny, but I've never seen it, and the UP did that a lot. Um, so you know, yeah, it's a call them the Dream Crushers. Okay. We have a lot of residential to do. I'm just sitting here hemming and hawing and chit-chatting, and I'm realizing that I need to get down to business and start, like, drawing some fences out and things like that, especially for these houses here. But really, we need to finish filling in these couple of blocks. This area here, I think, is going to be a field, or at least what's left of one. Maybe it's just a grassland sort of area. This area over here, I think, is going to be forests. So maybe I can fill that in with something that would the NRGW would be a close third. They bought the SP. Yeah. Well, I don't think the DNRGW deserves hate in really any form. I'm not a Rio Grande fanboy by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think that the Rio Grande was not quite as dream crushy and malicious. The Rio Grande was in a tight spot. They did with what they could. Like their very existence was a tight spot. Through the Rockies, not around them, and all that jazz. Let's see, I want this to go up like that. I want this whole area to be forested and like, yeah, that's not forest texture, but it's gonna let me know, right? It's gonna let me know that that's where the forest goes. And I should have used a ruler for this and not airport line. Is this what it is? Alright, back to search filter. House. Roundhouse, yeah. It's just a lot of scrolling through. U.S. house. Are these the... No, okay, this one has a door at least. I saw the like really basic thing, and I thought I was about to look at another house with no door. The clapper's broken. I mean, the clapper's broken. It died. It's kaput. I need to get a replacement for it. What is this? What'd you say? I don't know. Somebody missed you. I need to figure out what to put over here. Yeah, he's visible in the background just a little bit. I made sure to mention him. There's Benny for you. And Lafayette's getting antsy because he wants Benny to he wants Benny to come down.
Yeah, you might have to go out.
Yeah, probably. How about I put this house over here and I put this right here?
Outside?
What? Okay, put the mountain and go pee.
Will you be okay?
Yeah, he'll be fine. Alright. Some areas that are getting unhealthy white stuff that causes pileups. So theoretically, how does your route handle winter? Really depends on the railroad. I mean, there is no area of the route that is free from winter weather. This area is pretty temperate climate, all 4 seasons. A lot of it is modeled after New England, and the climate follows. Of course, up in the mountains there is substantially more inclement weather, and the Volga Mountains Railroad and the Geiger Mountains Railroad, they would all have significant snow fighting capability, you might say. So that's the kind of thing where they would have Jordan spreaders, rotary snow plows, whereas down along the coast, the Gilson Eastern probably doesn't have much in the way of snow fighting equipment. They don't get huge blizzards. They probably have a spreader or two, but I would imagine that the Gilson Eastern's sort of MO when it comes to snow is just sort of keep the trains running. Have little plows on your locomotives and keep the trains running. If you look at sort of the New Haven and the way that they fought snow, which is to say, they didn't really fight it that hard. That would be kind of akin to the way that things look for the Gilson Eastern. The Volga Mountains, they probably don't have a Donner Pass level of snow, but I'll tell you who does. The Zion and Skyline. They would have the most heavy-duty snow fighting equipment. They would be dealing with the heaviest of snowfalls. They reach probably not the highest altitudes, because I would bet that the Zion and Skyline gets pretty far up there, pretty well up there. But sorry, I would bet that the Zion and Skyline gets pretty well up there, but they don't have like a real mountain pass. Like they tunnel under Alduin Pass, and the Volga Mountains Railroad, their engineering is less. What's the word? It's a little more jank. It's a little less straightforward when it comes to the way they got over the mountains and around the mountains. They spent less money. The Volga Mountains Railroad was never a railroad with a lot of money. Their existence is more akin to the Rio Grande or the Rutland, and the Zion and Skyline is more like the N&W. The NW has money to burn. The Zion and Skyline has money to burn, and they have some substantial snow fighting capabilities because they fight a lot of snow. They're in an area that I would imagine, we might. It depends how I set things up, right? It depends what things end up looking like when it comes to um, the terrain as I build it. But it strikes me that the VMR would probably reach higher altitudes because their grading is much more aggressive. Um, but the Zion and Skyline probably handles snow, or at least has more snow fighting capacity. They handle more snow, or at least they could handle more snow. The the VMR, I wouldn't be overly surprised if when push comes to shove, the VMR just kind of shuts down. Um, they do what they can, but because there is another way around, they kind of shut down. The ZNS don't really have that luxury. The ZNS is one of the only ways, if not the only reasonable way, to get from the coast and from Gilson City up into the mountains and over to the industrial center in Akron. It's a lot of stuff that goes that way. If the VMR can't make the grade, so to speak, it's okay. Stuff will be shipped around via the Gilson Eastern, and those mountain towns can hold out for a little while. So it's going to be interesting to set that stuff up. I will have to pay attention when I'm building that out. Also, the Geiger Mountains also probably deals with a lot of snow. I would imagine that the valleys they are in get dumped on pretty regularly. Again, they sort of face a similar reality of the Volga Mountains, where if push comes to shove, they just kind of give up. The line will be closed for a week, and then they'll reopen, and everything will be okay. What? He is a little bean. He's a good boy. Turns out Norbert Shacklet is alive. That's good to hear. I don't know about you, but I'm chilly in here now. I turned on this AC because I couldn't get fresh air into here, and now it's cold in here. I'm just gonna turn the temperature way up. Why is it down at 61? Who the heck wants it at 61? I'll turn it back up to 70, and it's gonna stop air conditioning. Which? Don't trust who? Benny sat there for like an hour when you were not in the room. He's fine. He's not gonna get down. The worst he's gonna do is he's gonna climb back on your computer. You missed seeing him just like chilling, waiting for you to come back. Very sad like. Okay. Okay, we got that. I want this area to be just these three houses together, I guess, and then a space for a fourth one. What do you mean? I dumped it in the backyard. Where in? Well, I'm asking you where it was, so I can tell you if that's where I dumped it. Hi, TBA. How you doing? No. I dumped it right up against the side of the house where the poison ivy is growing behind the glider.
Oh, okay.
Because I figured if I'm going to dump stuff that I'm worried is going to kill plants, I might as well kill plants that I want to kill. What you working on now? How far has this come? It's been so long since I've tuned in. Well, let me give you the overview of what the world looks like right now. We'll do another speedrun. I feel like every week somebody shows up and says, I haven't been on in a while. How's things been? And I love answering that question because when people are gone for a while, that means they get.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, baby. That means they get the shot in the arm of, look how far we've come, look what we've done. So let me hide this and hide the search filter. And let me show you. Oh man, I want some pizza. I had some great pizza yesterday. From Dave's Marketplace. TJ, if you're still watching, I had some great pizza from Dave's Marketplace yesterday. I've always underrated their pizza. I was wrong. I was wrong to underrate their pizza. Um, um, what, Bryson? This right here is the town of South Bellington. It is. What the hell was that? It is a predominantly. Oops. It is a predominantly industrial town that grew up along the riverside and is lower income generally than Bellington, which is across the river there. Bellington, more like Ellington. Duke Ellington, yeah. There's a pub here called the Duke. I promise you that. Last thing you remember was Mason's Valley. Well, we've come a long way from there. Let me zoom out and show you. This is Bellington and South Bellington, or BS. And this is all that we've built. There's Mason Valley, and there's Mason's Landing. Mason's Valley is this town over here, which finished asterisk quite some time ago. Got a pretty sizable industrial district, and like I said, if you compare this to Olive, not a lot of trees here means it kind of looks empty. It looks a little bit more desolate than Olive. Olive looks full of life, and this less so. We've got the trolley stop here, trolley stops, trolley tracks, and that actually wraps all the way around here. And this valley is the one with the big bridge, yep. Narrow gauge over here. Haven't done a lot of work on the narrow gauge. Need to do some work getting some cars and things into the roster of cars that we can use. But this is the valley. In the valley is the valley line. Is this. And I've got to redo all these signals and things now that I'm not fighting with them anymore. Because I'm done fighting with them. And then you have the interurban or the trolley line on this side of the valley. Which, I thought I put like a culvert pipe here. I guess not. I should have. I should. I don't have a culvert pipe to put here. I feel like I should put a culvert pipe here. Hold on. Culvert. Brick culvert. Culvert large. No, not that kind of culvert. Actually, do I have a culvert pipe sort of thing here? Yeah, okay, let's do this. There we go. Culvert pipe, culvert pipe. There we go, perfect. Okay, we've done that. I also just noticed there's no grass along this edge. This is what happens when I come over here. I noticed stuff that I missed many moons ago. Stuff that I forgot about, stuff that I probably said I was going to come back to and then never got around to it. Or stuff that just got lost in the shuffle, you know? A lot of this area, you know, when I do an area and then I wrap up the end of a show and I go, all right, well, this, that, and the other thing needs to get done. Sometimes I remember and sometimes I don't. That's why I made the spreadsheet, but I don't always remember I have the spreadsheet. Not the spreadsheet. I have a notepad doc. But yeah, we've got this whole valley done except for the town here. This is something that I've kind of been saving for when I build in this direction, because we're going to have upper and lower Doe Cliff here. There's going to be a town up here, and the other half of the town is going to be down here. This had a bridge. Notice former bridge over to here, where there was the town of West Doe Cliff, which sort of was repurposed for barracks and then eventually abandoned. There's nothing here. This is an empty platform. Station building is gone, just a pile of bricks and some foundation. This building, which God knows what it was, nobody knows what it was, and some beams on the ground. And the interlocking tower up on the hill, which is boarded up, which would control movement through here. But if we follow the line back here, crosses that road again with the trolley tracks in it. The trolley is automated. It does work, or it did work. Maybe it doesn't now with the updates, but who knows? Town of Mason Valley. Very small place. I recently put a hill here because it was too flat. This is now on a slight rise. And just sort of interchange point for the branch line there, and some basic industries, little yard, little engine house. I've got an eyelash in my eye and it's killing me. Turntable for turning locomotives, of course. Some a harbor branch that comes along the coast here. Here's the switch for it. Not named junction, needed to do that at some point. Harbor branch comes along the coast here, passes underneath the main line, hit up some industries in here, including this cannery, which I need to update. The million spline points, you know what, maybe it would look better in Surveyor 2, hold on. Million spline points are killing me. Little brewery there. This is the end of the trolley. Another little industry there. Little industry here. Some street running, but it ducks off the street. Comes around. And you've got a team track here, as well as a ship breaker here, where you get scrap metal. So that's a roundabout way to get here. Thankfully, the scrap metal just goes up that way. But then I built a buttload of mainline. A ton, through farms and fields and things. The forest slowly opens up to farms, given time. There's a couple of like cattle underpasses along the way. There's this bridge over this dry valley, which I like that a lot. Yeah, I did a long time ago, like a long stream of testing the trolleys. And they did work. They just don't work all the time, and that's always a bummer. But, you know, hypothetically, they work quite well. This is another little scene that I like a lot, crossing over this road and river, next to the farm / farmer's market, I would imagine. Through here, we're joined by the road again, by what I assume is like a state highway or a local road. There is Jasper Mills here. Another little industry just off to the side, makes bread, if I remember right. Or, you know, like grain or something. I think the bread works is up here at Pan Am, which once you get way out into the fields here, you run into the town of Pan Am, which is a quintessential Midwest town out in the middle of nowhere, way out in the grapes. You've got a grain elevator. You have a little airstrip here, little dirt airstrip with with two hangars. One hangar you can actually fit stuff in, and then one other hangar. I adore this town. This was me going out on a limb and saying, like, can I build a place that looks like someplace I've never been? And I really like how it came out, even if I went a little bit overboard in terms of size. You also have the highway that comes through here. No longer goes straight, now hooks a left. Quintessential stuff, gas station, motel, supermarket. It's like DOT area, place that the trees are chopped down, some greenhouses. And then you have a mill back here, which was formerly water-powered. And this, which is made of like 6 different splines and was a tremendous pain in the neck to build. Anyway, crossovers and then back out into the fields. It's like Chesterton. Oh, well, good. I'm glad it lands. Underpass for a semi-major road. And then we get towards Bellington here. The trees come back into focus. We have a tiny, tiny town with a strange name. Constance. That's what it's called. I remembered without having to read that. Little tiny baby town, Constance, on the river. These two bridges, the old one and the new one, remnants of a wreck that I was looking at earlier, and a big old oxbow lake, like that. And then you come into, after a couple more fields, the twin towns of Bellington and South Bellington, with the old roundhouse, which is now belongs to the branch line, the old yard, and then the main line curves off this way. It used to go that way, now it goes this way, crosses over the river, branch or industrial branch there, and you come this way, and there's a flyover. This goes up into the mountains that way. It cuts through the middle of town on an embankment, and then you have all these grain elevators. And I'll be building a huge yard for storage and just regular municipal traffic over here. A lot of the stuff in town is going to be handled by the the Mansfield Branch Railroad, whose ops are based out of this yard and that roundhouse. But some of the other industries are handled by the Gilson Eastern, which is the mainline railroad here. This branch line was contiguous. It was split in half when they built this. But I have been really enjoying... +1 vote for you for working the loop before continuing. Yeah. Well, I got asked. I got to do it. And I'm always happy to do it, really. But yeah, this town I am eminently happy with so far. It's got a long way to come and a lot of empty space to fill in, and it's going to be no small amount of effort. But from my visit to you, inspired me to make these kinds of arrangements with the row houses and the garages back to back. Is there any overgrown abandoned right away? Oh, there's plenty. There's plenty back that way. I think I've showed them to you before. In this immediate area, there isn't much, although this yard is pretty overgrown. It's used, but it's pretty overgrown. Most of the right-of-way here is pretty well used, although there is a bit sticking out here, which I'll replace this track at some point, which used to come this way. You can see the crossing was there. There was another crossing here, and then it tied back into the industrial branch here. Doesn't do that anymore because they built that right-of-way over it. Anyway, back to work. Yeah, so I hope you appreciated the whistle-stop tour there. This wall is ugly. I'm going to keep it, but boy, howdy, it's ugly. So, you know, abandoned right-of-way is a key component of Trainz scenery. A lot of people forget. And it depends on the era and locale and you know, economic sort of status of the world you're building, right? You don't want to get too carried away with abandoned stuff, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. You don't want to skip it entirely, necessarily. If there's a good reason for it to be there, it should be there. But you don't necessarily want to... you don't want to spend too much space on it, too much time on it. Now, it's different than a model railroad, right? In a model railroad, you have properly functional limited space. Anything you put in has an opportunity cost of space. You will not be able to get that space back. You won't be able to put anything else in that space. If you're putting in abandoned right-of-way, it's because you want to have some abandoned right-of-way, right? It's because you feel like that's the most effective thing to go in that spot. And I sometimes will get apprehensive about, am I spending too much space on something that will never get used, right? Because when your space and your time, especially, but your space in the terms of model railroad is finite, you are going to, anything you build that's abandoned, anything you build that's abandoned is sacrificing something that you could build that is functional, you know? Um, and in a model railroad, it's much more important. In a virtual model railroad like this, in a virtual world like this, we have as much space as we could ever need. And so you should put in, not too much because it'll take all your time, but you should put in enough of abandoned stuff to fit your setting, to fit the vibe you're going for, the place you're looking at. Um, without it being overwhelming, but don't miss it. It is important. I agree. I put this more eloquently a couple of weeks ago. Today I'm sort of stumbling over it, but the point is that I always get apprehensive about it. I shouldn't be, you know. I think one of the best switching puzzles on this route is an industry that doesn't function because it's abandoned, and that's a bummer. I think that there are a couple of places that um, the fact that I decided to go with abandoned right of way takes away from operations that I could do and connections that I could make. Um, in ye olde Geiger Mountains, my abandoned right of way was still functional, and you could use it as a shortcut if you wanted to. Um, yeah, and TBA, I did give you the nickel tour. I did spend plenty of time on AI in the meantime, which is unfortunately mostly down the tubes now, but not really for the worse. I think I think the living railroad stuff is going to sort of make my efforts obsolete, and that's okay. I've come to terms with that. Um, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and the fact that I can run over it in that short of time, on the one hand, it leaves you questioning, right? Because it was a lot of work. But on the other hand, it was a lot of work because it made those areas that we skimmed over worth looking at for more than that amount of time. Worth looking at for, you know, the lifetime of this route, however long you want to play on this route. I feel like I've made something beautiful. I feel like I've made something worthy. And it's not perfect, and it's not, in some cases it's maybe not even great. But it's good, and it's good enough. And I can live with it, right? And that's all you really have to do. You tell yourself tomorrow I'll be perfect, and you live with what you've got today. Um, Tomorrow you try to do a little bit better. But you have to strike a balance between how much time you're spending and what you're getting out of it. I could I could spend hours placing flowers in every yard, but it doesn't make sense for me to do that. Uh, Living railroad is so. Let me put it like this: it is the thing that I've always been trying to do. It is the automated world that just goes on with or without your interference. Um, the AI, hypothetically, this is still very conceptual. Some elements of it have made it into the current version, but it's not ready to go yet. Um, it is the AI will recognize industries that take commodities. It will recognize cars that can carry those commodities, and it will take locomotives. In this case, I think just diesels. It doesn't know how to drive steam engines yet. Um, it will take locomotives and it will run trains, hypothetically. It will, I don't know if it will assemble trains. I don't know. I don't know what all the parameters and things are yet. But it recognizes industries that need things and industries that produce things, and it makes a sort of functional link between the two of them. It recognizes that this place makes coal and that place takes coal, and this car carries coal, so I should bring this car to the first place and then to the second place. You know? Oh, yeah, skid loader. Is there a skid loader in here? No, there's just a wheelbarrow. Um, that is a nice little diorama, though. Um, so it is really cool. I definitely am looking forward to seeing progress on it. Currently, the most way it's affected me, aside from the coming to grips with that my thing will be, uh, my thing will be forever inferior, like that I can't do what I want to do. I just have to give in and let Living Railroad do its thing. Because while 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 theoretically possible to have the railroad that I want, where everything is automated, it is practically impossible. It will consume every resource on your computer, and then trains will clip through one another and crash. So that's not ideal. It doesn't help. Um, Put my route with abandoned right away in the fake model routing channel. I will have to take a look at that later. Um, but I know that you've been doing a lot with that kind of stuff, and everything that I've seen of yours has been pretty damn impressive, Bryson. So, um, you know, certainly can't complain. Love to see it. Let's old tarred fence. Let's try this one. Yeah, okay. As long as this isn't hanging up in the air, and we'll go this way. Yeah, there we go. At any rate, so a B-25 and a B-17 last weekend. That's pretty cool. And in the 50s, loaders lived on Skid Row. Yeah. I already read that one. It was funny then. It's funny. It's funny the second time. That's the two-dimensional fence. Don't want to use that. A route with a real backstory is helpful. I agree. It is the kind of thing where you don't really think about it, especially if you're just building to build. And, of course, gotta put the disclaimer on, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. People, play Trainz in a way that makes you happy. If you're not happy with what you're getting out of this program, reevaluate what you can do to make yourself happy. Or to entertain yourself within the auspices and within the limitations of Trainz Railroad Simulator. If you're happy, if what would make you happy is getting a mega route done, and you just don't really enjoy the aspect of route building, then you're going to have to go through the part you don't like to get to the thing you do like, and there's no two ways about that. But if you agonize over the details and you really don't care that much, you just want to make a route, quit agonizing. You know? There are no standards. There is no council that will judge you for making a route that is bare bones, or making just a big switching puzzle, you know? There's nothing wrong with doing that. You should do that if that's what you want. B-25s are fast. That's cool. Well, you gotta bomb Japan somehow. I just noticed that this fence is all shaquad. 10 miles long is nothing to shake a stick at, honestly. 10 miles long is a pretty respectable route. I've certainly known respectable routes that have done better. As a matter of fact, many moons ago, we did a route building competition, and I remember sort of panning around this route. And this is an exception to the rule, right? Because it's a competition. I remember panning around this route and being like reasonably impressed with the looks of it, and then having to check the size because we had a size limit. We had a Like it had to be, there was a minimum and a maximum of tiles that you could do. And I zoomed out, and it was we were shooting for like 15 tiles, 15 20 tiles, I think. I zoomed out, and it was four tiles. And for whatever reason, that moment became absolutely legendary. And when you're building for route building competitions, you don't have to, obviously you're not just building for kicks, right? Or you could be. I mean, you could submit something to a route building competition, then don't get surprised when it gets judged, right? Um, uh, and it's TBA that built that route. Uh, haven't thought about that island in a while. It was a 4-tile island with N and W stuff on it. It was great. I probably still have the CDP somewhere. I think this guy's going to get a garage, too. Let's see. I think this is kind of a beat-up garage. I probably don't want to put that there. No, not that kind of garage. Garage 2-car. Yeah, this is fine. This guy has a garage the size of his house. Now, this is a garage and a half. Okay, we'll put that there. And then what else I want to do? I probably want to put like a garden shed in the back here. Show search filter. Oops. No, yeah, fard. Garden. We got garden pond, we got flower garden, we got garden light, we got garden shed. Okay. How about a bright yellow one? But yeah, no, never beat yourself up over your route building techniques. Never beat yourself up over route building in general. If you're enjoying yourself, you're doing it right. And if you're not enjoying it yourself, try to figure out why and see if you can improve on your workflow and improve on your product and things like that. If you're always unsatisfied with what you make, but other people seem to like it, then maybe you need to reconsider what your own opinion of what you're making. But if you're always unsatisfied with what you make, and you recognize that, hey, this and that could be better, like if you can articulate reasons why and how something could be improved upon, then maybe work to improve upon it. And if you can't, then maybe it's fine. And this is why constructive criticism is important, right? If you got somebody who's showing their route around and they're asking for constructive criticism, don't give it without knowing if somebody wants it, right? Sometimes somebody just wants praise isn't the right word, but they want acknowledgement for their efforts. And frankly, even the crappiest of routes takes plenty of effort. So always be respectful of that. Just like 3D modeling and everything else that we've talked about, always takes effort, always be respectful of that. I'm going to go ask for constructive criticism. And sometimes you'll get it, and sometimes you won't. Sometimes people don't know what to say. Sometimes people are just genuinely impressed. And that's perfectly okay, too. If nobody has anything negative to say, if all they've got is oohs and ahs, then maybe your route's just fine. But I don't have like a garden texture. I want a farm texture that looks more like a garden than a farm. Some people just want to see you put something random and out of place in a spot that's super obvious just to be funny. Well, I do have that that push pin, that giant blue push pin, over there in staging, and I intend to use it at some point. I don't know what for, but something. Have I tried to search garden? Yes. I want some kind of flower spline in here. But one that doesn't look like crap. With this. There we go. That's fine. Close enough. Good enough. I do need to put in a driveway here. I want to grab an asphalt driveway. We've done everything on the session layer. Could have sworn I switched this over and I didn't. Son of a gun. Well, whatever. Now we gotta fix that again. Let's turn the route layer off and start moving stuff over. I really thought I moved it over. I even thought about it earlier and went, yeah, no, I already did that. Nope. I know what we're doing today, Ferb. And the stuff disappears. I wonder if I can... Hold on. Because I know I can select multiple things in Surveyor 2. You. These two pieces of thing. No, I can't do that. I can't do multiple things at a time. I probably learned that last time, too. Oh, well. Well, now we gotta transpose everything to the route layer again. I swear to God, I thought I did that earlier. Should be my first thing every time I come into the route. I should switch over to working on route layer, and I did not. Something else that we've got to do to get this thing ready is to change the description and everything, because currently it is pointing out the way the route is at the end of the previous version. And it's not like that anymore. We've got more stuff and the AI is pretty much gone. It's a bummer, but it's for the better, I think. Instead of me trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It'll go with enough force, but it won't go. It won't go easily. And I'd need to upgrade the hell out of my computer, probably. I'd need to see if there's more tips and tricks. Which, learning the AI has been a really, really interesting and ultimately fairly rewarding exercise. I definitely can't complain about what I've learned, about what I've done, about, sort of experiencing the quirks and trying to get around them and creating a product that is somewhat automated and watching the trains go. I can't complain about that. Really, I can't. People have a lot of complaints about the Trainz AI. Set your expectations appropriately. It is an AI that works like it is stumbling in the dark, and you need to give it a lot of guidance. But if you do, and if you understand its quirks, and if you really spend the time with it, to get a hold of it, to get an understanding of it, to work through its limitations and find ways to patch its bugs, it is eminently cool to see it doing its thing. And I love that. Route layer. Don't know if I touched on this, but I'm going to get a G-scale locomotive this winter. I think you did mention that, but that's really cool. I've spent far too long trolling around Discover Live Steam and not buying anything because, God no. That with those prices. But I mean, G-scale is a lot easier to handle and a lot less expensive than most of the stuff on Discover Live Steam. Of course, you said G-scale, and my mind went places, but not all G-scale is. There's really only it's a minority, right? A lot of G-scale stuff is even battery operated these days, and has been for quite a while. Not like rechargeable batteries, but like big old D cells or something like that. The Christmas trains with the plastic track, and I've even got some of that, and I've got some more modern stuff. I've got some DC stuff Bachman 460. You are certainly a 460 lover, and I can't judge that. They're neat engines. They're great all rounders. You know, they are good small medium all rounders. 10 wheelers. It's interesting because they were really, I feel like they were born as express engines. You know, with a two axle pilot truck, they were born as express engines. But the best express engines, oftentimes the best express engines, uh, as long as they've got the get up and go and not just the speed, they work perfectly well as mixed traffic engines. I think the next good all rounders after that, you've got mountain types, you know? Because everything in the middle there, your Mikados, your Pacifics, they're too specialized. Mikados generally can't hit speeds over 60. You'd be hard pressed. And Pacifics don't usually have the pulling power to manage a freight train properly. Um, but once you get up to the size of a mountain type, then you've got the pulling power on your side. Then you've got the the top speed as well as the tractive effort, and that does what you need it to do. And it is interesting how everything smaller than that is not an all rounder, right? Um, Hear me out. What are 484s? Oh, they're possibly the ultimate all rounder, and that's the thing. It's once you get a little bit bigger than that, you hit. I mean, Northerns are Northerns. Northerns are ubiquitous because of their capabilities, because of their virtually universal capabilities. Excuse me. Most railroads had Northerns. Excuse me. Most Class 1s had Northerns in some capacity. If not, they usually had a handful of mountains as their top end mixed traffic locomotives. That's for some of the smaller Class 1s, like the Rutland, for example. The Pennsylvania Railroad had mountain types as their, you know, sort of end all be all rounders, right? Because the duplexes never really hit the big time. They were a little bit Johnny come lately. Um, but mountain types and northern types, there you go. Once you get a little bigger than that, things start getting a little bit out of the realm of practicality, particularly for particularly for passenger trains, because you're not going to need the tractive effort of like a Selkirk on a passenger train most of the time. Like the vast majority of the time, you're not going to need that. You're not going to need the tractive effort of a Santa Fe, certainly, and it won't have the speed anyway. The 210-4s, they could have easily handled them. Yeah, and I don't disagree, they could have handled them, but a Mikado can handle a reasonably sized passenger train without too much headache. It just might not be able to do all that you want a passenger locomotive to do. And when it comes to going over, you know, mountains, right? Then yeah, you throw whatever you need to on that train because your right of way is going to be twisted up in knots. The Southern Pacific, the Union Pacific, these mountain railroads, they had very little need for speed over the most difficult parts of their right-of-way. So, what do? You take something that can free steam, which is probably going to have a 4-axle trailing truck, right? Then there's your 210-4s, your 414-4s, yeah, your AA-20s, right? And you put them, you know, but you take your big locomotives, you take your articulateds, and you put them on a passenger train. And a big boy, I mean, we were talking about how overrated, relatively speaking, the big boy is. But the big boy is an excellent design. The big boy is a northern articulated. It is exactly what you would. That's not a spline. I'm so dumb. It is exactly what you would want out of a mixed traffic articulated locomotive. You've got, and the only other thing, maybe you could beat it out with a Challenger if you don't need all the tractive effort in the world. But big boys are big and heavy. Um, uh, Big boys are big and they're powerful and they do get the job done. Challengers do too. Iron Mountain Southern 4A2s were just light mics with an extra pilot axle. Yeah, and that's not particularly unusual. It is, okay, we have a Mikado, but we wanted to track a little bit better at higher speed. I mean, the first Berkshires were, we have a Mikado, but we need to be able to just stick it in the corner and run it, right? And lug trains up the mountain, right? Where does one draw the line between perfect and overkill in a steam locomotive? It 100% depends on what kind of railroad you're running on. You don't need, the Boston and Maine Railroad does not need a 4884. Never will. They don't have the grades for it, and they don't have the traffic for it. There is no perfect locomotive. Full stop. I mean, we made Locomotive Versus because of this conversation, because of this perpetual argument. What's better than what? And there's nothing wrong with having this conversation. There's nothing wrong with having it over and over again. What makes a good locomotive? Well, lots of things. But what makes the ideal locomotive for a given scenario? That changes. That's not always the same. And that's important to keep in mind. And a lot of times we've discussed, okay, can we augment Locomotive Versus to include the idea that a locomotive that's perfect in one locale might be overkill or might be not enough in another? And the answer, I think, is a resounding no. I don't think you can. I think you lose the ability to quantify things when they've been qualified like that. It is a problem with trying to quantify. You need to agree on what your criteria are, and then you need to keep them static. You need to keep those criteria in mind, and you need to abide by them. Because if you start going off track, if you start saying, well, yeah, but this is better in this situation, then you're never going to figure out what's better at all. You're never going to have an answer to this argument. You're never going to reach the end of the discussion. It all starts with finding a set of criteria that you can agree upon. And I think Locomotive Versus does that well enough. I think that the Loco games do that well enough. Not perfectly, but as good as you're going to get. Maybe. I don't know. We're missing a thing or two here and there. But some things just aren't good numbers for steam locomotives. You can watch Heiss's video on why horsepower is not very helpful. But I mentioned that earlier. And, the Q2, most horsepower ever on a steam locomotive. 8,000 horsepower. Wow, amazing, right? Incredible. What does that really mean, though? How do you turn that into something usable on Steam? It's tough. You have to go through other qualifying things. You have to go through you have to check your factor of adhesion. You have to check your tractive effort. This makes the difference. Okay, I'm not sure what I want to put here behind the church, but I do want to put something. Maybe another little graveyard. I mean, churches almost always have the graveyards with them, so. But I like this. I mean, we got this done today. That's not a ton for all the work that we've put in, but we did have to do a little bit of rework, and we did a little bit of touring around. And it's only 8:50. We've got another hour to go. You can send me a church idea. Can you tell me the church idea? I just want to hear it. But I'm not sure what to do over here. I think instead we'll fill in another one of these row house sections. That can be an easy dub right there. We can do one of these. I think I'm gonna take this chunk right here. How old is the church? I don't know. Why does it matter? It's probably been there a while. The town of Derry has been there a while. Or, not Derry. Dell's Lemonade. Grab that. Take it over here. This opposite end here. And then we're going to spin it to face the other way. But yeah, I would imagine that church has been there for quite a while. Most of the stuff in Dell's has been around. Let's grab these and just shove them back a little bit. And we go, back like that. Then we're going to bring these two to a point. I'm going to hold shift so they don't connect to one another. And the thing I'm looking out for is another place where I copied that exact chunk. Because I probably did, knowing me. And then we'll grab this chunk and we'll put it right up alongside. Which is why I'm not going to grab that fence there. I think we've got enough randomized bits that if we throw a bunch of them together... Oh, whoops, this is facing the other direction. That if we throw them together, we can make, you know, enough random combinations that it's not going to be a problem. Delete that. Maybe slide the garages a little bit closer to the road, and then we'll probably have to extend out these a little bit. Yep. Just send them right into the back there. And then what I probably want to do is grab this and put it here. Oh, and that actually lines up perfectly with that, which is a happy accident that I'm quite happy with. That little fluff. On my fiction railroad, the northern parts are 3/4 electrified. Electric engines are not common due to how poorly they handle anything over 5 feet of snow. That might be something to keep in mind, considering... although the Swiss don't seem to have this problem. The Swiss have probably... I bet you the Swiss have figured out how to deal with electrics in the snow. I don't know. I've never heard about electrics having problems in snow. Aside from trolleys occasionally. But that's more of a weight thing than anything. That said, I could absolutely believe there are reasons for poor handling of snow. Well, steam engines are what few diesels are. Just plow through. It's quirk specific to my railroad due to its technology level. Oh, okay. So I was going to say, there are plenty of very snowy countries that use electric locomotives, you know, with no, with seemingly no serious trouble. Okay, let's scoot this guy over here. And I'd be kind of curious. You know, I know that we've gone down rabbit holes on what is better where. We've gone down rabbit holes. We've talked about Southern valve gear in the past and how The fact that the expansion link doesn't wobble is probably what gained them the reputation for being worse in cold climates, because at that point you might have ice build up, and then you're gonna have trouble moving the Johnson bar. If you've got power reverse, doesn't matter at all, I would imagine. Um, it's probably just gonna power through whatever ice is there. It's just gonna shove it out of the way. You can probably engineer for that too, if you really wanted to, you know. Um, but take a Siemens ALC64 or ACL64 and put early 20th century electronics in it. In fairness, the Chargers seem to have trouble enough in that kind of weather, or at least before. I know they've got a lot of the kinks worked out of them now. It just took some time, as you'd imagine. Oop, yep, there we go. I'm gonna actually have to lower these because they're hovering slightly. But it seems like procurement always goes this way. There are very few things where they sort of come out of the box and they're perfect, right? There are very, very few things. In life, in railroading especially, you know, no plan survives first contact, etc., etc. But it's one of these things where, you can rag on them all you want, but they're not just going to give up on them unless they're the HHP8s, in which case they will get given up on immediately and replaced with the things that they were going to replace. But in seriousness, you know, there are a lot of smart people that go to work every day trying to figure out these problems. And those smart people are going to figure out the answers to these problems eventually. And sometimes it's costly. Everything works if you throw enough money at it. But given time for a technology, for a piece of equipment to mature, it will get better. And I think that's what we've seen happen with the Chargers. It just took some time. Okay, let's gotta lower these guys down. These are all hovering, jeez. Oh no, I'm realizing what's going on here. Okay, hold on. Undo that. And then let's just grab this and smooth ground under selected. There we go. Because now all these things sit on the ground, and now the ground is in the right spot, so now they're going to be lined up with the road, and I don't have to do anything individually. I don't have to spend all that dang time on that. Let's see if we can do like a nice long section. Maybe we should grab bits of different sections to use for this. There are only so many different chunks that we can pull from that'll really work. Especially because a lot of these end with something like this. If I wanted to grab from the middle, right, then I would have a problem where I'm leaving a gap somewhere, or a garage overhangs a little bit because the garages don't line up perfectly with the buildings. But that's for me to figure out. Alright. Working on a Yellowstone class in Minecraft, says Orion. That is fantastic, actually. That is... Hold on, let me split this spline. There we go. I've never been much for making trains in Minecraft, but I certainly respect the art. You know? It is, at the end of the day, sort of what Minecraft was made to do, to give you a limited palette, a limited set of constraints, right? And then you work within those constraints to make the thing you want to see. And I've loved that about the game ever since I, first bought it, or even before then, I suppose, because there was the free version online for quite some time, on like the Mojang website. which was just like Minecraft Classic or whatever it was. Um, and like that in and of itself was very cool. Just seeing people make beautiful, beautiful things with a limited palette and a set of constraints. I've never really been one for that. I've never been much of an artist when it comes to Minecraft. I can make a half decent looking house, I'll tell you that much. Um, but they all sort of fall under the same general uh, cupola of building techniques and block types and things like that. It's far from groundbreaking, the things that I build. I feel like I spend more time breaking ground in, sort of modded chicanery, um, but I'm not a modder, so I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, as it were. There are no original thoughts left in the world. Uh, in seriousness, it's been a hot minute since I've built something in Minecraft, like a creative project, something like a building, right, that I'm well and truly proud of. And I have a couple of things saved that I am proud of. I'm proud of building the Rhode Island State House, even if the interior isn't quite done, and I never really went back and finished doing that interior. Um, I'm proud of the ships that I've built. I'm proud of the Gettysburg and the Achilles' Last Stand and the um, the well, let's see, the airships that I've built as well. I'm trying to think of another ship because a lot of them, some of them came with us between servers and some of them did not. Those are really the two. Um, but if you've ever played on my Minecraft servers, you've probably seen them. You're probably familiar with these creations because, like I said, they've followed us from server to server. They act as the place where the rules are, where you spawn, where you can talk to me at the Department of Transportation and things like that. Uh, I've been working the past couple of days on uh, a a hypothetical new server, which is going to combine a lot of the stuff, but isn't going to use the Department of Transportation, isn't going to use the um, the sort of towns and rules and that sort of thing that we've developed over the years. Mostly because it's too much work for me, and that's not me being lazy per se. It is me being cognizant of the fact that I don't have the time that I used to. And I don't want people to be held up trying to get in touch with me and do Department of Transportation stuff when I'm just not going to be around. It's bad enough that I have this OpenTTD server that I'm supposed to be paying attention to day after day. Um, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. You know? Um, Thankfully, I haven't been caught in super dramatic gridlock lately, and as a result, my company is still around. But it is what it is. It's an effort. It's an effort. It's games. It's fun. But I can never let something get too fun without sticking my nose in it and trying to figure out how I can create my own sort of game out of it, my own game for other people to play, and that's how Locomotive Versus got here, and the trading cards, of course, buy trading cards. Uh, but beyond that, with sort of the more present subject of the conversation in mind, there are some things that that I've created that are going to be carried forward. One of them is the currency system, which I think is pretty universally loved. Uh, I like it a lot myself, and generally speaking, most of the folks who have played on the server and played on the servers enjoy the fact that we have this functional currency system, because without it, well, doing trading in Minecraft. Now these days, emeralds have become more of a better utility item for that. They've become a better currency as villagers have improved. This is in Java. Um, I only end up playing Bedrock when I'm playing with folks that need to be on other platforms. I'm much more familiar with Java. And in this case, even though it's a vanilla server, the modding is typically better, or at least more straightforward and less constrained. Bedrock has some great things going for it, but I've never been altogether that invested in Bedrock. Um, but oh shoot, I wasn't holding shift. It's my lesson. Um, but a semi-hardcore mechanic and stuff like that. You die, you get sent away. And let me elaborate on that for a second. So many moons ago, we created something called the Shipwreck Simulator, which was if you really just didn't want to hang around anymore, if you really were tired of the people and the places, you could hit a button, and what that button would do would be teleport you to a random place up to 10,000 blocks away. Or, sorry, up to 100,000 blocks away in any coordinate. Um, and this was always very funny. There are probably a couple of old streams hanging around of hitting the shipwreck sim intentionally and then walking back, and it taking a couple of days. Always great fun. And then we did a hardcore server, and I realized that when you die in hardcore mode, it puts you into spectator mode. And I could have a command block that effectively does the shipwreck simulator to everybody in spectator mode. So you die, you get turned into spectator mode, boom, you get shipwreck simmed, you get teleported 100,000 blocks away, and then you get set back to survival, and you get to carry on with your life. And you don't have any of your things, but instead of being kicked off the server forever, you get to, unenviably of course, walk back from purgatory. From what is effectively purgatory. And if you do the other thing that I love to do, which is turn off coordinates, because coordinates are such a crutch, in my opinion. Takes a lot of the mystique out of the game, and it means that you're never going to use certain features like a lodestone compass, or or even like a map or a regular compass, right? Unless you're trying to figure out specifically where spawn is. And you know, to sort of encourage people to use these things and encourage people to build roads and to build railroads and to, you know, not wander too far necessarily without being prepared. I love to turn off coordinates on my servers. And so you get dropped out 100,000 blocks from spawn, and you don't know where spawn is. You don't know what direction spawn is. And so now, what you've got to do, instead of, well, I guess I'm going to walk back to spawn just right away and spend the next 3 days walking back to spawn or whatever. And that's 3 real life days, for the record. Instead, you're now faced with needing to buckle down and make a little home for yourself while you get some iron, dig up some redstone, make a compass, and start heading home. It gives a little bit more pause. Now, this isn't necessarily fun for everyone, and I understand that. So I decided to create a shortcut, which is, if you're near spawn, or that is to say, if you have a friend who hasn't died, if that person kills the Ender Dragon, they get a credit that they can spend to respawn everybody. And by respawn, I mean everyone on the server gets teleported back to spawn. So as long as if you're dead and you're out in the wilderness, God knows where, you'll never get home, ask a friend to go and respawn the Ender Dragon, give it what for, right? Kill it, and then go back to spawn and press the button, and it'll take away a respawn credit from them that they would have earned by killing the Ender Dragon, which you've got to get the finishing blow on the Ender Dragon for it to count. If you blow it up with beds, I don't think it counts. I don't know, but I don't think it does. And yeah, so if you do that, you can. If you have a friend do that, they can teleport you back to spawn. Better than nothing. And it sort of answers the. I feel like whenever people do hardcore mode, especially on a server, particularly on a server, nobody likes being dead, right? Nobody likes being in the situation where, oh, my friends are dead, my wife is dead, even Jack's dead, right? You're the last one standing. That's no fun. Now what do, right? And this gives you an answer. If you're the last one standing, you gotta kill the Ender Dragon and not get yourself killed doing it. And if you do manage to kill the Ender Dragon, best you stay alive, because you can bring other people back. It encourages a kind of teamwork that isn't really there otherwise, and it also gives a little bit of a recurring reward to the speedrunners, the people that bum rush through a Minecraft save and get to the Ender Dragon and kill it before everybody has iron armor. But I hate helping others in teamwork. Well, no one said you have to. In fact, I removed the shipwreck simulator so that no one can shipwreck sim themselves. I had to replace the spot with the respawn thing. I only had so much space for command blocks. And so the solution is, of course, if you don't want to be around other people, if you don't want to see other people, just kill yourself. Why not? But in seriousness, yeah, if you were to intentionally die, before you have anything, of course, because you'd lose it, if you were to intentionally die, you get Shipwreck Simulator, and then you're off in the middle of nowhere, and you are gone. You are so far away that nobody will ever find you by accident. And the only way that you will ever see anyone again is if you're online when someone decides to spend their respawn credit, which I would imagine somebody would advertise that they're going to do that before they do that. Otherwise, you're probably going to miss out on bringing somebody back. Of course, you could not, and you could, just do it for whoever is currently on, or you could do it maliciously if somebody is far away and hidden. Teleport them back to spawn. But that would be a lot of effort to spawn kill someone. Alright, let's see. Let's grab these 3 houses. And these 2 garages. As tempting as it is to just slide them in that direction, spawn killing insurance. I mean, it's just functionally, it would just be functionally difficult, Because in order to spawn kill someone, that means you've got to respawn them every time. Because every time you kill them, they respawn 100,000 blocks away in a random direction. So, it's really hard to be, like, repeatedly rude on this hypothetical server. And I have thought about, the rules and this and that, and okay, how are we going to do things? How are we going to make things fair? How are we going to make things so that, everybody gets along? What are we going to enforce? And it's like, well, why don't we just sort of throw that all out the window? Because there are serious stakes for getting killed. There are serious stakes, It's basically, it's functionally getting killed in hardcore. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to, be jettisoned. Um, and yeah, if you have a dedicated group of players that are always going to be up on the respawn credits and always going to be able to respawn their buddies when they get slain in battle, right? Then okay, then you'll have a group of players. But to respawn the Ender Dragon and kill the Ender Dragon takes time and effort. Uh, and it's not impossible to farm the Ender Dragon, but then if the person who has all those respawn credits gets killed, well then you're SOL anyway. You gotta go kill the Ender Dragon again. Um, oh, I just spun this around the wrong way. It it strikes me as a level of self-correcting system. Not perfect, but reasonably self-correcting. If somebody gets a name for themselves that they're a murderer, that they're killing, then they're going to get into a squabble with people, and people are probably going to take them out. And once that person's taken out, well, it's going to be a long damn time before you see them again. They've got to do the whole sit down, figure out, make a compass, walk all the way home. I've actually been tempted to expand the radius even further to like 1,000,000 blocks instead of 100,000, which would make it functionally impossible to walk home. You'd have to have somebody respawn you, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. Being able to walk home is something that the more independent players seem to like a lot, and also sort of if the population of the server is low, then it's going to be a lot tougher to find someone to respawn you. Yeah, Wild West Resurrection Minecraft. Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of the Wild West, right? It should be consequential to die. It should be consequential to start beef, because you don't want anyone to be mad at you. You don't want to give anyone a reason to want to fight you, because the stakes are very high. And honestly, if and I'll I might drop it to the server to decide what I crank it up to over 100,000. But maybe it's better if it's functionally impossible to walk home. Or maybe I just make it even longer, and I make it so that somebody who dies can't possibly get home the same day. Because it is, I don't know, like 9 hours of walking. I don't know what Steve's base speed is. I think you can cover like 2 kilometers in a Minecraft day. Maybe, optimistically. I don't know if that's true or not. But say you can cover 2 kilometers in a Minecraft day at walking speed, not running. And that's being a little bit conservative, because I would imagine that there are going to be things in the way. There may be difficult terrain to cover and things like that. But if it ends up being too easy, it's a Minecraft day is 10 minutes. You can walk 2 kilometers in 10 minutes. That means you can walk 12 kilometers in an hour, right? 6 times 2, yeah, 12 kilometers in an hour. And then you can go, if you walk for 10 hours, that's 120 kilometers. Yeah, so it's like 9 hours. It's like a 9-hour walk home, give or take. If you really get stuck in the corner. And you can do that in one day if you're super dedicated, but that's a lot of time and effort to put in just to come back to murder somebody again. Yeah, there's the Nether lets you skip blocks, but then you've got to sit down and build a Nether portal instead of just building a compass. And compasses don't work in the Nether, so how are you going to figure out how to get home once you're in the Nether? That's the tricky part. You could use the Nether to go faster, but then you need to get your bearings in the overworld. And you need to say, okay, I need to go north by northeast, right? Go into the Nether, pull a map out, because a map will show you which way is north. just by letting you walk around. Or you can use some other tricks like knowing which way textures face, but I don't think that's as usable anymore because they randomize textures a little bit, I think, in the base game now. Um, well, you've got to get your bearing. You've got to figure out. Okay. So if you want to walk home in the overworld, you've got to make a farm because you're going to need food to survive long enough to get iron and redstone to make a compass, and then you're going to start walking. In the Nether, you've got to get a diamond pickaxe, or at least enough iron and lava and water to craft a portal that way with the cast method. Not impossible. Takes a bit of time. I know it's sort of the speedrunner's preferred method, but it is effort. You've got to find a lava pool that's of sufficient size, which in modern Minecraft is a little bit tougher because you've got to get a lot deeper for that, right? And so you've got to get the stuff to make a compass, so all the above, right? Stuff to make a compass. And you have to craft a nether portal. And you have to craft a map so that you can figure out which way is north reliably in the nether. And then you need to traverse the nether. Add the Midnight Lurker and he'll take care of most of the people in the nether. Yeah, I'm doing all of this without any mods whatsoever. I'm doing all of this in vanilla, predominantly using command blocks and scoreboards and all the stuff that's baked in like that. Because I vastly prefer a vanilla server over a modded one, like 9 times out of 10. And that's not to say that I don't love modded. I've made mod packs. I have dabbled in adjusting mods, but not creating them. I've done a lot with modded, but a vanilla server is accessible, and that's what I love about it. Some of the best friends in my life I've met on vanilla Minecraft servers that I created. Now, it's a little bit tougher these days because there are people that like scan open IPs. You can't have a vanilla server anymore without somebody jumping in and griefing the place. So you've got to do whitelists. But still functionally it is very straightforward. Most people find vanilla Minecraft relatively easy to get into. You don't need intense hardware to run it. It's sort of, it feels like a gaming equalizer, and I've always talked about Minecraft being one of my, if not my favorite game of all time. Not necessarily because it is perfect or anything like that, but because it is so versatile. And if I was going to be, trapped on a desert island with one game for the rest of my life, I would probably pick Minecraft. As long as I've got mods and I've got internet, it's infinitely replayable. And even if I don't have that, I feel like I can do an awful lot. Because you're bounded only by your creativity, And I know this is an ad for Minecraft, but I love that game. And yeah, I'm playing a different game, but and I've probably spent more hours in Trainz than I have in Minecraft. It's not, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I don't think I would be able to live with this game on a desert island. I don't think I would be able to keep my head on straight. Like, especially with the limitations to AI, it's not good enough. It's not done enough. It doesn't have enough options. And I could sit around and I could build worlds and build worlds and build worlds, but the thing I love about Minecraft is building worlds is the act of play. You are playing to create, not creating to play. Here, I'm creating to play. I am making something that I am going to spend time on in the future, hopefully. I'm going to spend time playing around in the future. I'm going to be running trains. I'm going to be messing with eye portals. I'm going to be switching out industries. It is... Grab this. It is building up a world to play in instead of building within a world of play. I'm sure you get what I mean. I'm just repeating myself at this point. But theoretically, if more people made commands for trains, we could get the more niche stuff scrubbed out. Yeah, and there is a lot of flexibility that could be added to trains. But there's a lot of flexibility that's there that people don't know about, that I didn't know about, that I still don't know about, you know? Every time I ran into a scenario where I wasn't sure if something was possible in this game, somebody would introduce me to a command that allowed it to be possible. And I love that. I love how much there is available, how much is on the download station for free, how much versatility there is in commands, and you know, doing like loops inside loops and subroutines and this, that, and the other. Like, the only thing that this game does not have is like if-then statements, which is a shame in a way. It would be really nice to have in commands, you know, if this thing is, you know, whatever. But you can get pretty close. You can get pretty darn close. So, you know, I don't really have a ton to complain about there. I think I'm gonna grab this, these 4, these 2 buildings, and these 3. I need to stop making the thing that I'm moving the fence, because that's causing problems. Spin that 120 degrees. Not even close. 180 degrees. Not 120. No wonder why I didn't get close. Try to line those staircases up with the street and then slide this into position. There we go. It's a little bit too close to that house. There we go. That's better. And we've still got too much space here, so let's slide these garages up to the road. And this is why I really wish that there were some more world creation tools that could do things in bulk. And I know there's plenty of things I could do with copying and pasting. Like, plenty of things. And I'm doing a little bit of it already. But yeah. Those yellow and orange garages are cropping up a lot. I really don't like them. Yeah, you can explore different eras in your creativity. When do I decide that the scene has been fleshed out enough? It's a tough call. Honestly, it's a tough call. I don't have like a definitive, these are the scenery passes that I have to make. But I try to keep in mind the real components. And I'm talking like fences, trees, bushes, houses, of course. I'm trying to make a world at a glance, you might say. And where if you dig a little deeper, the place is pretty empty. There's not a ton going on. But it is busy enough, it is full enough that you can get away with it. That I can get away with it. And I've talked about Olive a bunch today. Olive, I did a little bit more than usual. I did a lot with the trees and the foliage and things, but I also did a lot more in Pan Am than I did in, say, Mason Valley. Mason Valley is a little light on the house scenery. But, you know, when do I decide that a scene is done? I mean, the first place to stop is no more grid, like you said, Orion. But you got to take it a little bit beyond that. You have to do some passes of grasses, of trees, Olive more things going on in my own neighborhood. Yeah, I think there are like I even put like a cat on a porch somewhere. And these are little things. You know, you don't have to do them everywhere. You don't want to do them everywhere. It takes a ton of extra time. It takes a bunch of extra resources. Even just the time to find the asset that you're looking for, that can be prohibitive. That can be a huge time investment. If I want to put a cat on somebody's porch, well, now I got to find a cat. You know? And so how do I know when something's done? When there's nothing that jumps out at me as being missing. And that's not a very helpful answer, I understand. But the thing is, if go around your neighborhood, right? And take note of what you see. The broad strokes. You're going to have houses, you're going to have fences, you're going to have driveways, you're going to have cars in driveways. You're going to have some stuff in front lawns. You're going to have trees and occasionally garden beds. You know, it is, and you have to start stripping out things in your mind, and you say, okay, if I dropped this, would it still feel like a neighborhood? If I dropped this, would it still feel like a neighborhood? And you got to whittle it down to, at what point does it stop feeling whole? And for me, there are a few things that really make a world feel whole. And we'll go to Olive to demonstrate, to talk about this for a second. Or maybe we'll go to Pan Am, because that's a more recent example. There's a few things here. For a residential town, or for a town, right, you need a few things. And some of these things are a little superfluous, but I'll go over them in the broad strokes. I was done here when I had all the roads down. Roads are the first thing you want to do. The houses and businesses and buildings, those are the second thing you want to do. Grass, trees, texture. Okay? That's like the next level down. Grass, trees, and texture. You want to have those things. Your texture and your trees, you can maybe get away with not having grass in certain situations. Most places with people are going to have trees. And it does feel a little empty without them. Compare this town here. This has more or less the same level of detail, maybe a tiny bit more, but it has trees. Let's jump over to Mason Valley. Mason Valley doesn't have trees. Mason Valley feels a lot more empty because it is houses and fences with nothing to break them up, nothing to fill these yards in. We can see how much space is not filled in. The trees prevent that. The trees act as cover for the places where you want to skimp, where you don't know what to put in everybody's backyard. Not everyone is going to have a pool or a garden or a shed or a water tank or a wrecked car or swing set or anything like that. So you put trees in the corners of people's yards, on the edges of people's yards, in the middles of people's yards, to make it so that this level of detail, which, don't get me wrong, this looks pretty darn good. It looks even better in here, but you can tell how empty it is. Compared to, we'll jump back to Pan Am. Or actually, no, in this case, let's go to Olive, because that's a much better analog, ultimately. The trees are hiding a lot of the empty space. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of empty space. But the trees are drawing your eyes up and away from the yards, away from the spaces where I didn't spend a lot of time. Especially when you are over here on the track looking out that way. And this, we even have a vantage point, right? We're looking out over the highway. We have some backyards here that are empty, but by the time you get to the second row houses, your view is being broken up by lots of foliage. And it's being broken up by the foliage more than it's being broken up by the houses. You get much more bang for your buck in just throwing some trees down than you do figuring out what goes in everybody's backyard. Um, after that, after you get your grass and your trees and your textures down and your buildings down, you're pretty much done. I mean, the little things that go in the yards here, cars and driveways even. Oh yeah, you do want to do the driveways. Um, not having them there, you're not necessarily missing something because you're probably going to be looking at this route at a scene that's during the day. People are going to be at work. Hey, Yankee. So they don't necessarily have to be in the driveways. You can put them in businesses. You can put them in parking lots. Um, but a scene is done for me when every space is filled with something, whether that be trees, a tree covering up an empty space is a tree filling an empty space. Fences, houses, stuff. And that's the biggest thing is an area is done when adding something to it is sharing space with other things. Putting something in all of these yards isn't crazy, but it is taking away space from what is supposed to be a relatively, yay, fifth person introduced to the PN. That's fantastic. Into what is a relatively simple scene that represents, okay, we fit a bunch of houses in here. There's not enough time for trees to grow in here. This area is new, relatively, to the people. Oh, maybe. Hi, I love you. So if I'm gonna make a general statement, I'll say that I'm done adding things. I'm done adding things to a scene when anything new would be sharing space with something I've already made. Would be not filling in a hole, but instead doubling up. And there are a lot of empty spaces here, and I could get away with throwing some trees down in here, and it wouldn't take away from that. But this is an older area. It would have time for trees to grow. The other area was not. You've got to keep that in your mind. It's a lot of moving pieces. It's not easy. But it'll let you know when to say, okay, this place is fine, I'm going to move on to the next place. Because you can detail for the rest of your life. You don't need to. So I'm going to put down some houses over here to sort of lock in the fact that I want this to be residential. Now the thing is, it's probably more like duplex residential, like this, than the residential kind of stuff that we've been working on. I can fit in 4. I can probably fit in 6 actually. But yeah, take note of your empty space. That's the takeaway. Keep tabs on your empty space. If you've got too much of it, find something to fit in there. If you don't have a lot of empty space, consider that you might have an okay amount of empty space. But never let that empty space be untouched. Grid, flat, nothing interesting, I feel like that goes without saying, right? I'm not going to advocate for you leaving grid on your route. But, yeah. It'd be interesting to get some sort of mixed-use development on this corner, actually. I wonder if I could justify fitting something there. But I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think there's a lot of commercial in this area, aside from what's being sold out of the factories and things. Let's see. I want to put like a barbed wire fence up behind this. You've got to find a level of detail that you're comfortable with. You know, there is no perfect amount. There is no correct amount. You've got to find a level of detail that you're comfortable with. If you are not... Okay, you know what? I actually need a chain link fence with barbed wire on top. Um, sorry. If you're looking at a scene and you go, it's just not, you know, I'm missing this or that. If you can, again, this is the takeaway. If you can figure out what you're missing, then you should probably add it. Or at least you could consider adding it. If you can't figure out what you're missing, move on to the next thing. Move on to the next scene. Be done. You know, don't beat yourself up over not being sure if a scene is done. If you can't think of anything else to add, it's finished. You can move on. And that's why knowing those broad strokes is important. Getting those broad strokes under your belt and into your head. Houses, fence, you know, structures. Sorry. Let's say infrastructure first. Roads and railroads. Infrastructure, structures, texture, grass, trees, and extras. The other things that you could focus on they all have to do with what you're doing with your infrastructure, what you're doing with your railroad. The stuff that I focus on is, you know, after those basic layers of things, your industry configs, your track marks, your signals, your switch stands, that sort of thing. That's important. And if you're going to have an operating railroad, you best remember those things. But it isn't the end of the world if you don't do those things. Part of me really wants to put in a track here, but that's just not wise. In fact, I think I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Yeah, and there's a garage door on that side. Perfect. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, and I'm going to put it right here. And you know what? Maybe I will put in a set of ties, which we've done before. I'm going to write that down somewhere. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad that it helped. Because I try to wax philosophical all the time over here. You guys know that. Some days I'm better than others at it. But really, what I want to do is answer questions. And what I want to do is make a route, of course, right? But I also want to encourage people to make their own routes. And that's something that lots of people have told me, that I've been the one to get them into Trainz, and that, I mean, it's a real puff to the ego, right? But really, it's so heartening. It makes me so happy that people are watching these and taking away, like, the joy of route building and going off to make their own thing. Okay. We're just about wrapped up here. Babe, do you want to get started with the food? And then I'll join you in a minute. It's 1:15. I don't know how hungry you are. I'm getting pretty hungry. Okay, what you doing? Oh, okay. I thought you were still playing The Sims. Apparently, so TJ was on the stream earlier, and he said, Kat said, "Is that The Sims?" Watching me play.
Oh,
Uh,
watching you play.
Okay. Let's. Oh, we get it. We can do this intersection while we're here. You know. Yeah, and it is. You can't just end the conversation at, if you can't think of anything else to add, you're done, because you need to make sure you have the basics down. But if you can't think of anything else to add, and you have the basics down, you're probably done. Oh boy, here we go. Benny. Hold on. He's gonna bark his head off until somebody pays attention to him. Hi, Benny. Come here. Come here, you little soot sprite. Ah. Well, he thought you were leaving him. I'm just gonna sit him on my lap because I know that he'd be okay with that. I do want to come back to the cars disappearing and appearing with the day-night cycling. That'd be really cool. It'd be really neat if you could have layers that base themselves on that, you know? Where you could say, okay, this layer appears at this time and disappears at this time. That'd be fantastic. I don't know if that's a thing you can do. It might be. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that it's a thing you can do. But I have never seen it done, and I've never attempted to do it. If we go into the layers dialog here, we can't really do anything with them. We can change the name, and that's it. I wonder if... Benny, your breath is absolutely rancid. I wonder if there's a game rule for it. Oh, shoot. That's too far away. Or like a session rule or whatever they're called. That would be great. There we go. The Thomas people have a script that allows you to control another person's engine from your own computer, so it's probably possible. Oh man, I will never fail to be impressed by what people have figured out in this game, honestly. Honestly. Alright, spline point there. We're just going to do some more intersections to wrap up today, I guess. So spline point there. Scoot this back to there. Oh, and I'm going to need the one side. I don't like the fact that they seem to be in a different order in the different panes, or the different surveyor modes, which is a little strange and a little confusing. Okay. We got one more intersection done. Yippee! I don't know what else we can do. Let's go look at some 3-foot gauge freight cars. Honestly, eventually do op sessions with like 10 people as long as they're all visible. You know what? I think I'm just going to do it in staging instead of over there. Someone say 3-foot. Yeah, no, I'm going to see if I have any 3-foot freight cars that I could put down. Let's just throw down this. I don't remember what I used for the 3-foot. I think it's like a 56 pound rail or something like that. I'm gonna put these guys over here because these are the ones that we've used already. These are the tank cars. And I know I want to grab everything that we have used already. Togog ones and the Bedneil ones. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be looking around on the well, not on the DLS because I'm not going to download anything while we're going. I'm going to see if I can grab all of the Hi pup. See if I can grab all of the cars that we have. 36 buzzard, so okay. 36. Oh, wrong thing. 36. Oh. Oh, it's 36 space Buzzard Valley. Yeah, there we go. That's something that we have. 36-foot box car. No, we have that. Los Santos tank car. 36 gauge flat car. 36. Yeah, this one. The flat car. We've used that one before. Um, the tanker, I think, 36-inch tank car V2.5, which I think is this, right? This one. Yep, that's that. Um, 36-inch hopper black. I don't know about this one. I don't think we've used that. That's really cute. That is very small. Um, boxcar NKP. 40-foot DRGW boxcar new one. I don't know if that's... I don't know if this is 3-foot or not. No, it's not. Now, I would have been a little bit surprised if we had a 40-foot boxcar on the 3-foot, but, you know, it is what it is. I think we also have a EBT hopper, yes. We do have an EBT hopper. EBT hopper. We're currently using that. We have that one set on. And I think that might be the last of it because we really don't have much. If I look at what cars have the narrow gauge commodities, right? There's the flat car, the avgas and stuff. We already filled that in. We picked that up last time. Camp goods go in the flat car as well. Diesel fuel in the tank car. The general goods, they all go in the Buzzard Valley boxcar. Hay bales go in the Buzzard Valley boxcar. We don't have a lot of narrow gauge stuff. We can put them on. We can put logs in a flat car. I don't think we have any like whatchamahosets, whatchamacallits, the thingies, the stock food bags go in there. The oh my god, my brain is failing me because I haven't eaten anything. Like a skeleton car. Sorry, skeleton car. Yeah, so that's really it. These are the only cars that we have for the narrow gauge so far, and we need to find some more. I think I have you into 51. But if I punch in 36, I'm probably going to find some stuff. Now, we have this, which is standard gauge, so that's not helpful. I need 36 inch, not 36 foot, or 36 gauge. We have these little baby skeleton cars, and I am really curious what to do with these skeleton cars. We can probably make use of them, though. 36-foot wood reefer, I think that's also standard gauge. Although, does this have anything interesting in it? Ice and goods. Whoa, 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 whoa. Haggis load? Haggis load. Really? Alright, well that's something I didn't expect to see today. I'm gonna assume that these three go together. Trainboy wanted some DNRG assets. I think I have them. I'm not downloading anything, but I definitely have some. So this is the to be added car I got, to be added track. 36-inch reefer, which please tell me this also carries haggis, because we can do a haggis transload. No, okay. Apple pallet, orange pallet, and general goods. That's fine though. 36-inch steel frame flat car. Whoa, there's nothing. There's nothing on that. Okay. That was a little strange. 36-inch tank car, we got that one. 36 NG Alco 242. Yeah. We're not doing locomotives right now. Box car. Is this the same as the Buzzards Valley? No. I can put wheat in this. Didn't expect that. SRS. How about a... Is this... I'm going to assume this is a reskin. I'm going to hope it's a reskin. Yeah, it is. Okay. Those two can go together. Sumter Valley RPO. I mean, that's really cool. I doubt it carries anything. It doesn't, but it's still kind of cool to have. So I'm just going to scoot that over to here for now. 25-foot flat car. Oh, it's a stake car. Can carry cordwood. Well, this takes me back to that train game that we don't talk about. General goods, camp goods, and general goods, and lots of log sets and stuff. This could be, because this is, I think that the cordwood is new. Coal hopper crew wagon, which is hilarious. I bet I can't put anything in this. Maybe it carries passengers. Probably not. Nope. The one that's soon to come to consoles. Oh god, I forgot about that. DC gondola. Carry wood chips. Okay. And camp goods and that stuff. So this is a cool car. I like that. Let's just put another track down next to it. See if we can find anything else in this list. G&D boxcar, which I assume is a copy of the Buzzards Valley one. Ooh, it's not. General goods, stock feed bags, general goods, hay bale. Okay. Okay. Black Shay. Okay. Narrow gauge boxcar type 3. Will this be different? Nope. This is the same as that one. We do have the ore cars. I didn't really have a plan for these, but they're nice to have anyway. Iron ore, limestone aggregate, taconite pellets, iron pellets, and sugar. 36 ore wagon loaded. I think I know who made that G&D one. Giants needs to start hurrying and releasing the equipment list for Farm Sim 25. Yeah, we're almost in 2025. All right, no, that's unhelpful. 36 water wagon. Can I load stuff into this? I'd imagine not. Oh, I can. I can get water. That's kind of neat. Stock car. Is this a narrow gauge car? No. Okay. Let's see if there's anything under, like, DRGW. Let's go to there. Yep. Of course, my love. Let's see. CV&Q. Oh, maybe I have CNS stuff. CA and L. I guess the A or the ampersand is later in the list. I thought I had CNS stuff. Oh, nope. I have Colorado and Southern Tender. No ampersand. The word and. Hey, look, I have D10s. Everybody's favorite. It's also incorrect because the G&E Model Red's narrow gauge was DG and H. The more you know. Central Pacific stuff. Cross at Western Mikado. Neat little low poly model. I love the giant 10 on the back. Oh, okay. I guess the ampersand is later. I got CNS baggage car and stuff. I'm gonna assume I can't put anything in this. Oh, it does carry stuff. Mail product, express product, and baggage. Okay. All right. I'll take that. CNS boxcar type 1. Is this a duplicate of anything? I would imagine so. Not quite. I just have hay and not hay bales. Fascinating. Boxcar type 3, which I'm going to hope is the same as the other one in terms of commodities. It is. Okay. We've got some caboose, we've got some coaches, we don't really need all that. Coal gondola. Let's see what we can put in this. All sorts of cool stuff. Gold ore, gilpin, silver ore, tilra, bauxite, cobalt ore, iron ore, and coal. Alright. I'm going to guess that this is the same as that. Looks like it. CNS Combine, CNS Flat Car. Let's see if there's anything fun on the flat car. Gotta love the CNS, man. Nothing on the flat car. The flat car, the most useful kind of rolling stock there is. Well, it's probably a gondola actually, but got nothing. Can't fit anything in it. Can fit cows or cattle or cows Jersey 01 load. I think I might actually have these. Hold on. Let me double check to see if I have cows. No, I don't. But I thought I had the cow. Yeah, so I do have cows Jersey 01 load. So I can make a narrow gauge to standard gauge transload facility for cattle because I've got the same asset in both. That's kind of fun. 27-foot boxcar. Let's see. Is this the same as anything else? Survey says no. This is different. Crated machine parts load. That's a cool one. We've got our work cut out for us. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to add. Let's see. And we haven't even gotten a DNRGW. And it's also 10 o'clock, and I should probably wrap up. Tiffany Reefer. I'm going to assume this is different than the other boxcar. Just oranges. Nothing else, just oranges. Cordwood, some others. Whoa. NG loads steam tractor. Wagon buggy. Brome product load. I think I might have that in standard gauge too. Let's see about this. Just some logs. I mean, I do have to look and see if any of these are what's the word? Okay, cordwood or some other stuff. Okay, that I think is the same as the other one. I'll put that there. Log car red. I assume that these two are the same actually. Max load 3 logs. Max load 3 logs. Yeah, so these are equivalent. I'll put them together. DL&G. Adorable. I doubt it can commoditize anything. Nope. Alright, well, whatever. I'll just put it over there. Boxcar, which I'm going to assume has the same stuff. Yup. As... What is that? The same as this? No, not the same as that. Same as this? No, not the same as that. Same as these? No, not the same as those. Same as this. There we are. Took me a minute, but I found it. Okay. And the Tiffany Reefer, I assume, is the same as the other Tiffany Reefer. I'm gonna hope that it is. I'm gonna assume that it is. But I'm gonna put these two together down here. Okay, there's DNRGW stuff. Boxcar. Tell me it's the same as something. Okay, it's the same as... It's got nothing. Oh, right. I vaguely remember these... A lot of these having the same sort of problem. Flat car lumber. Let me guess. Carries lumber. Carries lumber and general goods. Okay, that's new, though. That's fine. It's not a new commodity, but it is a new arrangement of commodities. This one has nothing. DNRGW gondola. Let's see if we get anything interesting in the gondola. No, we have nothing at all in the gondola. First the flat car, now they're gone. Nothing. Zilch, nada. Nothing in this one either. Why is so much of the Rio Grande? Why does the CNS get more love than the Rio Grande? That doesn't seem fair. No, all this stuff, all this DNRGW stuff has got nothing. Let's check the stock car. Let me guess. Come on. Zilch. Nada. Why would you not put commodities in these? Come on. What the heck? DSP&P, weight car, coach. That's all the same stuff we've had. Those are just reskins. Um, and then there's the EBT hopper. So I don't honestly think there's anything else. I mean, that's not saying we don't have plenty of stuff. We do. We absolutely have kind of through with giving them commodities. Yeah. Um, yeah. No. I kind of annoying, honestly. Kind of a bummer. We've got this. We've got this whole arrangement here, and we've got all those cars, and they don't even carry anything. So with that, we've got 3 rows or 2.5 rows of cars that really probably should be entered into the document so that we can get their commodities locked in for when we do the narrow gauge. But that's down the road. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next week. This is the Admiral. And Benny. Signing off.